Today's workout is a 15-minute first trimester, no equipment strength workout. You don't need any equipment to tone and strengthen your body in this workout. Let's get started.
Hey mamas, welcome to today's workout. I've got a 15-minute first trimester, no equipment strength workout. We're going to be working in intervals of 45 seconds with 15 seconds rest. Again, no equipment required, and we're going to be getting the body strong, primed, and ready for the first trimester of pregnancy and beyond. So let's go ahead and start with the feet underneath the hips. And I'm going to turn to the side to show you this from a side profile. Take your hands across your chest. We're going to do a good morning. So you'll push your hips back and down, let your back come down parallel to the floor, squeeze your glutes at the top, and keep your core tight, arms across the chest. So we're coming down, nice flat back, chin tucked, push those hips back, exhale, brace your core, squeeze your glutes. So we're getting that nice stretch through the back of the body, engaging the posterior chain. And when I'm coming up to the top, you'll notice I stop here. I'm not going here, taking that work into my lower back and getting an anterior pelvic tilt. That's bad for your core. So we want to keep that load in the back of the body here, so we safely engage the core and the posterior chain. One more here, and then we're gonna take a 15-second rest, and we're gonna move to the floor. What we're doing next is a reverse Nordic curl. So you're gonna take your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, untuck your toes, hands across your chest. You're gonna lean back as far as you can, butt toward your heels, and then come up, squeeze your quads, squeeze your glutes. So you're keeping a long straight back as you hinge backwards and forward. So I'll show you here from the side again. So toes are untucked. I'm hinging back, back, back. You'll notice my spine stays straight. I'm not collapsing, squeezing my quads and glutes to come back up. Now, this is one that's difficult if you've never done it before. You can absolutely hold on to something here. You can reduce the range. If you start to feel you're doing this, your butt's dropping, just reduce the range. Go just a little bit backwards, a little bit forwards. Focus on keeping that core tight and really engaging the glutes here as you come back up to starting position. And again, always feel free to hold on to something here. 15-second rest. We're gonna come into a kneeling position. So bring your right leg forward in a lunge. So you're 90 degrees. We're gonna focus on pushing through the front heel. Come from this kneeling lunge position to a squat. Keep your back toes untucked here, and then bring that back leg up, squat down, feet just outside hips, and then come back to that starting position. Again, untuck the toes, and then put the heel down, squat, and come back to that lunge. Now I want you to focus on staying loaded in that front leg. So you're pushing out of that front heel, you're squatting, knees push through the middle feet, and then you're staying a little bit forward. So I'm almost leaning into that front leg, but I'm not dropping my chest or rounding my back. You'll see from the side here, I'm not rounding my spine. I'm keeping my chest up and sitting deep into that squat. So you see how I stay forward? I'm not resting back here. I'm staying loaded in that front leg. And this one is a quad burner. You're gonna feel it a lot in that front leg. All right, 15-second rest. Whew. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So take your time getting down. And this is one that you could also use something to stabilize, but I want you to try to refrain from doing that if possible, just because it's gonna take a lot of the pressure off. So using that front leg, and then coming back to starting position, again, 90 degrees. So if you're pulling on something or pushing on something, it's gonna really take a lot of that pressure out. So try to do it without body weight, or with your body weight only, without something to hold on to. But if you really need it for this stability, you can do that. Again, shifting your weight forward, and then coming back down, holding that quad really tight at the bottom. So even when that back leg goes down, you're not just chilling at the bottom, you're going right into the next rep. And you're really strengthening all those muscles in the lower body here. And you can go as fast or as slow as you want to. This is all at your own pace here. It's a great stability exercise too for the glutes. Okay, moving to the edge of the mat. We're gonna do a monster walk. I know you're probably familiar with these if you've done my workouts. We're gonna take the feet about hip width apart, hands in front of the chest. We're gonna squat back and down. Butt can go as low as you want to, and then we're gonna walk side to side. However many steps you can take across your mat. You're going wide, but not too wide to where you're turning your hips or turning your toes out. We wanna stay loaded and low in those legs. So the more legs, the lower you have to go. So get your butt just above knees if you can. I like to just keep my hands in front of my chest. Again, you don't want to like push on your legs. You don't want to round your spine. So just make sure you're upright, keeping that core engaged here. And this one, we're not trying to go fast here. Just stay slow. It's more important to be low in order to get that strength benefit in the legs. Rest. Okay, next up, wall sits. So find a wall. We're gonna come towards that wall and slide our back down and bring our knees to 90 degrees and hold that wall sit for 45 seconds. It's a long time. Take breaks as needed, but try to stay in as long as you can. So 90 degrees. Take a deep breath first thing. Set your intentions. Set your knees in line with the middle toes. Heels down. And just breathe into it. Close your eyes. I feel like that's always helpful to just kind of take your mind off if you're watching a clock like me. I'm always having to watch a clock, but just know that I'm with you. It's tough, but we can do hard things, especially the first trimester. Pregnancy is so hard. But if you can push yourself a little bit in your workouts, it's going to help build up that endurance and that resilience for the rest of pregnancy and all the hard things that come with it. We made it. Okay, we're coming to the edge of the mat again for an inchworm plank. So we're going to take the feet wide. We're going to squat down, crawl forward into a plank, and then crawl back up the same way. So really think about using your hips. Hinge at the hips, squat down first, and then hinge forward, crawl forward into that plank, hinge backwards, heels down, stand up, squeeze your glutes to rise. So we're integrating upper body with the lower body. Crawling patterns are so good for pregnancy, first trimester and beyond. It's gonna help mobilize the back body, the hips, engage our core, and just use the body in a really functional way, which is really important for just all the stress that's going to be added during pregnancy, all the physical changes. We want to be resilient and avoid injury and unnecessary strain and stress to the body. One more, we'll do this one quick. Nice. Okay, now we're going to take a break and we're going to go onto the floor for push-ups. So now we're going to take the hands wide, and you can start on your knees with the knees wide here, or start with the knees under the hips. So we're going to drop the chest to elbow height. Exhale, push up to the top, keeping those shoulders over the wrists. And we want to go chest about elbow level here in the push-up, using that deep core. So engaging pelvic floor, lower, middle, upper abs on that breath. So we're really integrating core work with that upper body strength work here. So if this is too much pressure for your core here, again, you can bring the knees here. You're still engaging that core, still focusing on good technique. If you really want to challenge yourself, if you're more advanced, you could definitely take the full push-up variation and go onto the toes. Let's do one more. All right, rest. We're gonna stay on the ground and move to a tricep press. So it's a little bit of a spin on a push-up. We're gonna take the hands in front of the shoulders here. So walk them out. You can do two things. You can take the knees back to load the core more, or you can take the knees under hips. I'll show you both options. So here you're gonna bend the elbows, touch the elbows just gently to the ground, and push back up. So inhale, exhale, push back to the top. Now, if you wanna make it more challenging, you walk the knees back to load the core. So you're bending the elbows, pushing through the heels of the hands. You want those elbows to be parallel, so make sure they're not flaring out. If you find you can't get your elbows to the ground, try walking your hands forward a little bit more, or backwards if you find that that's too far away. You can kind of play around with this one, but you should be able to just gently touch those elbows. Elbows should be in tight, and again, you're not resting at the bottom. Option, knees closer. We want to stay on the knees for this one, though. We're not going on the toes. All right, next we're going to move into the side forearm plank with a leg lift. So I'll show you a couple variations. First one is knee is on the ground, hip is on the ground, elbow at 90 degrees, and the top leg is extended with the top arm on the hip. We're going to lift the top leg up and down, coming to about hip level here with that leg, just leading with that blade of the foot. Option two, level two, would be to lift this hip and keep your core really engaged as we push through the forearm and the hip. Now, even if you're at level 1, you're not here. You're lifted through that hip, lifted through the waistline, the shoulder. But if you're here, of course, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. We're going to stay with just 2 levels today, just focusing on controlling that lift, using those adductors, those side glutes, which are really important to strengthen during the first trimester and beyond. Having strong functional core and hips, so key for pregnancy. Okay, we're gonna stay on that same side, and this time we're gonna hold our forearm plank. So I'll show you the 2 levels again. This first level, bottom knee is on the floor, and we're already doing this. So we're holding it here with the hip touching the ground. We're just lifting through that waistline. So that's level 1. Level 2 would be lift the hip, and that bottom knee is still bent, knee toward the front of the room. Level 3 would be to stack the feet here, and you can reach that top arm up if you feel like it. So you're lifting that bottom hip, just breathing through it here, squeezing your glutes, squeezing your quads. These isometric holds are the hardest because you're really having to focus on staying strong through the interval. There's no way to really speed it up. Just have to endure it. But again, building that endurance for pregnancy is so important because pregnancy and then childbirth and postpartum are all going to put a lot of demands on the body. So it's important to do what we can to strengthen it while we can. Okay, we're going back to that forearm plank with the leg lift. First level, hip is on the ground. Just lifting that leg, pushing through the side of the foot. So you'll notice we try to focus on building strength with exercises that are really intentional for pregnancy here, as well as things that are going to get the heart rate up a bit, but not spike the heart rate too much. Now, naturally, we're going to feel a little bit more out of breath being pregnant because that resting heart rate does elevate during pregnancy. So take more breaks, listen to your body as needed, but just know that every little thing you can do to strengthen your body, even if it's only a few minutes, even if you don't make it through this whole workout, level 2 if you want to do it in the last second, even if you don't make it through the whole workout, it's still benefiting you to even just do a little bit of movement as much as you can. And some days are going to be easier than others. All right, we're going to that forearm plank hold. You ready? So you can stay here or lift, keeping that bottom knee on the ground, or going right into level 3. And I always encourage people, if you're finding these workouts are just too difficult, whether it's morning sickness and nausea holding you back, or it's fatigue holding you back, or headaches, or whatever symptoms, there's just a gamut of symptoms. Even just the smell of the room you work out in, I'm like, that would deter me sometimes. But do what you can do. Some days are just going to be a no, and that's okay. Just remember, pregnancy, you've got quite a few months, and hopefully for most after the first trimester, you're going to feel much better in terms of not feeling nauseous, having more energy, and that's a better time maybe to get back into a workout routine. But just do what you can in the first trimester and have grace and patience with yourself. Okay, go to a hands and knees position. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to go to a bird dog next. So lifting the front arm, the back leg, we're going to lift that arm up to shoulder height and the leg to hip level, just extending through the leg, extending through the arm, keeping the thumb up, and then squeezing the glute. Exhale as you lift, keeping those hips and shoulders square to the floor. Staying nice and controlled here. This is great for core stability and just, again, learning how to functionally work our core, strengthen our body to have resilience and endurance for pregnancy. And this is one of my go-to exercises. Pregnancy, postpartum, whatever. Bird dogs are just a really great exercise. Okay, next we're going to do a bear plank. So this is going to be more intense. We're going to tuck the toes, keep the knees under the hips, about hip width apart. Hands shoulder width apart. We're going to push through the hands, brace our core, and lift the knees, holding that plank for 45 seconds. Now, I want your knees low to the ground here. I want you pushing through the heels of your hands. Your core is wrapped, pelvic floor, lower, mid, upper abs are braced. If you're noticing any compensation here, you can absolutely just hold it for a few seconds and then rest the remainder of the interval. And even starting with a 5-second hold, 3-second hold is going to be great for just getting used to this movement. But if you can, stay here with me. Keep those shoulders over the wrists. Keep those knees low to the ground. We've got less than 10 seconds left. So good for challenging the pelvic floor, deep core, first trimester and beyond. This is a great exercise. And we're done. That was it, 15 minutes, body weight strength. And we made it. So thank you guys for working out with me. Let me know how you're feeling during your pregnancy. What are your biggest challenges you're facing, and how could I help you overcome those with simple at-home workouts? Because sometimes that's just what you need, is just to know you're going to get a good, effective workout, something simple that's going to strengthen you during pregnancy, first trimester, and beyond. And I'd love to help you with that, especially as I go through my pregnancy with you. I'd love new ideas for content as well. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you back here for our next workout together.